Hi, this is Kelsey Brown with StorySaving. Today I'm here to show you a very easy way to apply spot color to a photograph. Today for this tutorial I'm using Photoshop Elements 8 on a Windows 7 PC. However, other operating systems and versions of Photoshop will work pretty much the same way. To start off with, I opened up my photograph of these lovely tulips that my husband gave me. Then I'm going to turn my photo black and white. Now the manner in which I turn my photo black and white for this particular technique is very critical. And in order to do that, I'm going to come up to the Layer menu. I'm going to select New Adjustment Layer, Hue Saturation. And then just click OK on that. Now, you'll notice that this Adjustments box has popped up. In older versions of Photoshop, a window will have popped up separately, kind of like this. But in newer versions, it'll come up in your palette sidebar over here. Now, to make my photo black and white, I'm going to simply check this Colorize box. And you can then just take your saturation all the way down to get that pure black and white photo that we want. You'll now notice that in our Layers palette we have two layers. Our original background layer and then this new Hue Saturation layer that's selected. Make sure that your Hue Saturation layer is selected from this point on in order to continue this technique. The next thing we want to do is we want to select our paintbrush. Then we want a semi-large hard edge brush with a black paint. And in order to do that, I'm just going to switch my black and white with that little arrow right there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on my flowers so that I can make sure I get all of the pretty details on here. And the next part is the simplest part. It's actually making the part of your photo color that you want to be color. So you just start and paint on that Hue Saturation layer with your black paintbrush. I like to do all the big areas of my selected object first. And then I will change the size of my brush to get all of the detail on the edges. So you'll notice I'm not going right to the edges, just the middle. And I like to do this in semi-small strokes so that if something goes wrong, I can easily undo the last stroke and then repaint that particular area. I think I'm just about ready to call that good for now. Just one more petal on the flower. Okay, now to do those edge details, I want a smaller brush. I like to change the size of my brush by using the bracket keys on my keyboard. If I punch the right bracket button, I can make my brush bigger. The left bracket button will make my brush smaller. So if you notice up in the very tip of one of these petals, there's this little V shape that is cut out of my petal that I don't want to be color. I'm going to start off by painting over it, and then I will use a white paintbrush to then take that back out. Now I'm going to switch my colors back so that I get the white that I need to take that out. And I'm going to make my brush even smaller. And then I just take that section out. You'll notice on the Hue Saturation layer that there is now this big black spot where you have painted on that layer. Once you're done with all of the details and getting your photo just how you want it, you're going to want to flatten your image before you save it. So you'll go back up to the Layer menu and select Flatten Image. then just save as you normally would. And I'm just going to put an extension on the end of that so I know what it is. And save in my usual manner. If you use this technique on a photo, I'd love to see what you do. Please come back and share it. And thank you for joining me today on Story Saving.